couple of days ago, the U.S. Treasury from the Office of Foreign Assets Control announced sanctions against various addresses on the Ethereum network, including the smart contracts that host Tornado Cash. So if you're not familiar with Tornado Cash, it is a privacy system on the Ethereum blockchain. It uses something called zero knowledge proofs to obscure the sender, recipient, and the amounts. So you basically can make private transactions. And what typically people are doing is they'll send in some Ether or some C20 tokens into Tornado Cash, into those contracts, and then they'll later withdraw them to another address. And so that obscuring of that link means that the new funds at your new address, has no link to your old address. Most people do this just for their own privacy purposes. If you're going to pay a friend or pay a business or whatever, and you don't want them to see, your on-chain accounts with, a fat stack of Ether, well, you can send some money through Tornado Cash to obscure that link. So most use cases are actual legitimate uses of privacy. However, there's an estimated 10% of the funds in the Tornado Cash system that are a result of hacks. And the US Treasury took interest in this, particularly because they suspect that these hacks were perpetrated by North Korea, which of course is already sanctioned in various ways. And so that gave the Office of Foreign Assets Control authority to say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and sanction this system. But the problem is typically sanctions are done against people and businesses and entities. And this is the first time the US government has really sanctioned a blockchain address or a number of addresses or a smart contract. And it's not really clear the implications of this. This is going to have to be tested in court to really see what they can and can't do. But you have a lot of people that are denouncing it for a First Amendment violation, free speech violation, because at the end of the day, this smart contract, Tornado Cash, it's just code. And code has already been ruled in the United States as protected speech. So it's not clear what would happen if someone just took the Tornado Cash code and deployed it on new addresses. Does that exempt you from the sanctions? And then what does it mean to do business with these addresses as well? Like if one of these addresses that's sanctioned swaps with a Uniswap pool that you're a liquidity provider in, does that mean that you violated this concept of doing business with these addresses? So this has a lot of wide-ranging implications. No one's really sure the extent of it. And a lot of people are saying there is some government overreach here. But we've already seen a number of fallouts from this, including USDC, which is the largest centralized stablecoin currently, or it's right up there with Tether. And they went ahead and blacklisted a number of addresses that were on this list, meaning that if those addresses have USDC, it's frozen. They also cannot receive USDC. And so this caused a lot of backlash in the crypto community about, centralized stable coins and why they're insecure, things like that, because you can sort of end up in these overreaching sanctions. And in addition to the blowback from free speech advocates, particularly, they didn't like the fact that the developer addresses of the Tornado Cash smart contracts were sanctioned as well. So Tornado Cash has been funded in part by an open source funding initiative called Gitcoin. And the addresses that were receiving funds from those donations got sanctioned. So just for developing this system, the Treasury decided to sanction these addresses. So it kind of has a chilling effect for software developers in the space, saying like, if you're going to develop something the US government doesn't like, you're going to potentially end up on these sanctioned lists, and those funds that you have on those addresses are basically frozen, or you can't use them anywhere. And then this also opens up a broader question of where is really the limit of the US Treasury's reach? Are they going to go after miners for validating a transaction that interacted with Tornado Cash? Are they going to go after the data center that's hosting that node? Are they going to go after the property owner that owns the piece of land the data center is sitting on? Right? I mean, it's like, where do you draw the line of all these like infrastructure providers and everyone that's sort of tied up in this ecosystem?
Well, everyone always needs someone to blame, right?